The creature was woven from pure nightmare. Rearing up out of the pool, the thing's head was 20 feet above us. It resembled nothing so much as some kind of giant centipede crossed with a sea monster. The segmented sections of its body were protected by some kind of carapace. Dozens of these squirming legs protruded from its sides. Each was tipped with a serrated blade. Near the base of its neck, two enormous tendrils like those of a giant squid were flailing around. This thing's head was the size of a car. Despite all of this, its mouth was just simply wrong. Its mouth was wrong. There were too many shark-like teeth and multifaceted eyes staring at us with this intelligence of almost human malevolence. Time stops as I make these observations. In the fleeting instant, all hell breaks loose around me. Sergeant Brown acted instantly. He raised his carbine to his shoulder and dropped to one knee in a smooth motion, peppering the creature's face and neck with sharp, controlled bursts. "Smitty, put a 203 grenade down that ugly fucker's throat. Cortez, you have 2 seconds to get that saw rocking. Barnes, Cook, alternate your fire. Aim for the eyes." The squad leader's calm control does the trick. The monster roars again as it enveloped in this storm of gunfire that goes on for the better part of 30 seconds. At some point, I realize I've gotten down beside Brown and added my own instrument to the deadly symphony. I'm mindless of the sharp hisses passing as close as the cave is filled with these deadly ricochets from solid stone walls. Dust from 100 impacts fill the air. Through my night vision, the beast is lost in this haze of green powder. At last, the weapons run dry and the firing stops. I dove behind some 2-foot-high rock to my right to try to get some cover, slapping a fresh magazine into the rifle. Around me, I hear the men of 2nd Squad professionally begin to reload their expended weapons. They were nowhere near fast enough. To my left, Cortines is struggling to load a drum onto his saw. From out of the haze, the creature's tentacles whip out, too quick to follow. One slaps the machine gun out of his hand, and the other one envelops his head and his neck. His yell is muffled as he briefly struggles to remove this hideous limb from his face, before the second tentacle wraps around his waist and yanks him into the cloud. Now, accompanied by wet, ripping sounds, his screams grow higher pitch until they are abruptly cut off. I see Sergeant Brown and Barnes a few feet to my right. They've taken cover in a similar position to my own. Barnes jumps to his feet and sprints forward to the machine gun lying on the floor. Brown tries to grab him by the back of his body armor but misses. "Barnes, no! Oh, damn it, Smitty, get another grenade ready. That fucker's still out there. Cook, help me cover that idiot." Barnes slides up to the saw like a runner stealing second and ratchets a new belt into the weapon. "Barnes, get your ass back here now!" screamed Sergeant Brown. "Roger, Without warning, the creature roared out of the cloud, its maw snapping shut around his head and shoulders. It lifts him bodily into the air. Barnes squeezes the trigger sporadically. With Barnes being jerked around like a rat caught by a terrier, the saw in his hand spits death at a rate of 200 bullets per minute. I try to make myself as small as possible behind my rock. Fatal hisses and pops are sounding all around me. Barnes grunts as a wayward round catches him in the lower leg. Specialist Smith, rising to a knee to fire his grenade, drops without a sound, but with a spray of blood. From where I lay sprawled, I can see his unmoving form, a dark pool slowly collecting around his head. The firing finally stops. Looking up, I see the creature has tipped its head back and is using its tentacles to push Barnes' body down its gullet, body armor and all. Its neck is convulsing like a snake swallowing prey. I realize we need to get out of there, and fast. Pumped on adrenaline, my own body armor feels weightless. I roll from behind my rock and hop to my feet. I take 2 steps before diving down next to Brown. He's managed to get his combat tourniquet around his leg, but the blood is still pulsing out of the wound. Obviously, he didn't get it tight enough. We're tightening that tourniquet, and then we're gone, Sergeant. Damn it, sir, leave me. Get Cook out of here. I'm just going to slow you with this leg. Not a fucking chance, soldier. Now try to hold still. It's going to hurt like hell. I grip the two ends of the windlass and I twist. I hear Brown's breath catching his throat beside me, his hands gripping down on my arm hard enough to leave bruises. But to his credit, he didn't scream. When I can't twist anymore, I secure the windlass and throw his arm over my shoulder, glancing up at the creature, and all that's left from Barnes from the knee down. Alright, let's get back up the tunnel before Ugly notices us. Cook, you got rear security. Let's go. We stagger to our feet and begin hobbling back the way we came. The way from the horrors of the cavern. Cook trails a short way behind us, then throws a few glances over his shoulder. Sergeant Brown tries to help as much as possible, but is severely hampered by his wounded leg. Our progress is slow. Far too slow. We've made it maybe 200 yards when the creature lets out a howl, and we hear the unmistakable sounds of its enormous mass exiting the cavern pool. We stumble onto the first tunnel intersection. My stomach drops when I realize that the path is unmarked. 3 openings beckon from far side of the intersection. I set Sergeant Brown on the ground as easy as I can and frantically search for any sign of previous passage. Something that might suggest the way, but there's nothing. Shit. Cook, this is a terrible plan, but I've got no better ideas. We have to find Sergeant Troy, and we have to make sure that somebody gets out of here alive so we can alert somebody higher about this thing. You take the left tunnel, we'll take the middle. That gives us a 2 in 3 chance of picking the right one. If you find the platoon sergeant, priority is making it out to get reinforcements. Then you can worry about coming back for us. Got it? Roger, sir. I won't let you down. Okay, get going fast, but quiet and careful. Cook takes off down the left fork at a jog. I look over at my wounded charge. Looks like it's you and me, Sergeant Brown. Let's make this ugly fucker work for the rest of his dinner. I throw his arm over my shoulder and we stagger to our feet. Brown grimaces as we begin to stumble down the path. Unfortunately, sir, I don't think he's gonna have to work all that hard. The man is shaking. Now that the initial adrenaline is worn off, shock is starting to set in. I need to get Sergeant Brown out of here now, because if not, he's going to be dead whether that monster finds us or not. We haven't gone all that far when I hear a strange rolling sound, like far off thunder, issuing from back the way we came, and it can only be the noise of the creature's passage. I set Sergeant Brown down behind a slight outcropping of the wall to drop to one knee. The sound is getting closer. For all the good that it will do, I raise my weapon and get my finger poised on the trigger. My hands are shaking. I realize exactly how terrified I am. The noise grows until it seems like that thing must be on top of us. Every moment I expect its grotesque maw to appear down the tunnel, ready to devour us whole, like it did to Barnes. Abruptly, the sound begins to diminish. The monster must have chosen a different fork to pursue. I struggle to get Brown back to his feet again, and we slow our crawl up the passageway. Each time it gets harder to get him up. Each time he's less able to help me stagger. Just a little bit less. Perhaps 2 minutes I hear the unmistakable sound of gunfire. Just a few sporadic reports before going silent. I must have found Cook. It'll be coming for us next. As the last echoes from the gunshots die away, Sergeant Brown's wounded leg buckles and he falls, dragging me to the ground with him. I rest for a moment before fighting back to my knees and attempting to stand. I stumble. Both of us fall to the ground again. Groaning, Brown struggles back into the sitting position, his back against the wall of the tunnel. It's no good, sir. It's no good. A round must have hit my artery. I'm lucky I made it this far. Well, we've got a lot farther to get you, Sergeant, so we'd best get moving. He shakes his head. No, sir, I reckon that's not going to happen. We both know I'm not making out of this cave alive either way. Troy, he told me about the deal he was going to make with you before coming in here, and he made me agree to back him up on it. He grips my arm. We need you to get out of here, sir. It's like you told Cook. This thing needs killing, at all costs. And that's more important than me, you, or anybody else. You're the only one here who's seen that thing and has a shot at making it. You're sure as hell the only one with any kind of chance of convincing the hire that it's real. I went to the commander with the story. He'd have the MPs cart me off for sampling the local drug market. He grimaced. I've got my rifle and some grenades. I'll keep him off you as long as I can. See if I can't give that son of a bitch the mother of all indigestion. But you've got to make it out of here, sir. For Barnes and for Cook. For Smitty and for Court. For the local kids. Someone needs to know. We need to stop this godforsaken thing. He lets go of my arm and sinks back against the wall for a moment. Then he begins sitting up and gets to preparing his weapon, lining up his grenades and taking out a handful of parachute cords from his pocket. He starts to rig them together so that one solid tug will pull all of the safety pins from all 5 grenades. I stand up, unable to speak, knowing that that man is right, but feeling like I need to change that simple fact. There has to be some way I can change it. Not looking at me, my squad leader ties knots and continues to talk. A part of me dimly registers that the rumbling has started again, and it's slowly but steadily getting louder. Oh, one more thing, sir. For me. There's a letter on the side pouch of my rucksack. It's for my ex-wife and the kids. Just, when you get out, if you can make sure that they get it. Don't tell them what happened, just tell them that I was thinking about them. I love them. Even that crazy woman. Tell her I should have tried harder. He pauses for a moment and he looks up. Please. My voice hitches. Yeah. Absolutely, Sergeant. He returns to his preparations. I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure serving with you, sir. Now, no intended disrespect, but get the fuck out of here. I stand up, and I stand there for a long moment, unable to move, unable to speak, only able to look at my friend quietly preparing himself for death. And then before I change my mind, before I can truly think about leaving one of my men, and what that says about me as a leader, as a soldier, as a man, I turn and I begin making my way up the tunnel. The rumbling sound echoing, making my head pound. Just in time to my racing pulse. All too soon, an explosion rocks the tunnel behind me. The creature's roar of rage is so loud it threatens to shatter my eardrums. I start running.